Yo, what is going on, everyone? What is happening? It is Monday morning, 9:02. The Philadelphia Phillies had a fantastic slide at home, courtesy of Alec Bohm. 7-6 victory on Sunday Night Baseball. What a game that was, huh? That was just a great game of baseball. At the end of the day, you talk about, oh, the game's boring. No, that game was not boring. The end of the game was insane. Bryce Harper, Didi Gregorius, Reese Hoskins all go yard. Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna Jr., Ozzie Albies. I mean, come on. That was just a great game of baseball, people. A great game of baseball. How are you today on this Monday morning? Cheers to the coffee. We're going Wawa Hazelnut. All last week we went Timmy Hortons. We're going to start off this week with a little Wawa action. So we'll go Wawa Hazelnut. Nice and black. There's nothing better than seeing that black coffee just staring you in the face on a Monday morning. We got a lot of comments saying Bohm was safe. Bohm was not safe, but it's okay. I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, look, it was a bad call. That's what it was, a bad call. But the way I discussed it in the post-game podcast is how I feel. There were many different things that occurred for the Braves that kind of made that even happen. Out in center field, the ball goes through your legs. The throw by Azuna, what type of throw is that in general, right? Will Smith allowed the double to occur on Alec Bohm to start. You can kind of look through and say there's all of these issues that happened prior. Well, do a better job. Do a better job. Don't put yourself in that situation to begin with. There's plenty of mistakes made throughout all these games where the Braves are going to get advantage of a missed call at some point throughout the season. So just shut up. That's my thing, is shut up. You will get the benefit of the doubt with a call later on in the season. It's just how sports works, where everything comes full circle. There'll be a bad pitch called on the outside part of the plate that should have been a strike. It ends up being a ball, and then you end up getting a Freddie Freeman bomb later on. That's the example I gave, and I think that that's fair. One thing that's been overlooked, Hector since August. Hector Neris just gets in there and slides right in. I know the hot topic yesterday was Connor Brogdon. Because Archie Bradley wasn't there, you ended up going with Coonrod for the top of the lineup instead of Connor Brogdon. And I don't have a huge issue with it right now. I think you're trying to learn the identity of your bullpen pieces. So it's easy after it doesn't work to say, oh, well, you should have put in somebody else. Coonrod just flashed you one-on-one upstairs the night before. I mean, like, it's so easy to just bitch and scream and complain to Joe Girardi for putting in Coonrod, but it's not as if Coonrod is a disastrous person to utilize right now. It just didn't work on that night. You got to find a way. So if it doesn't work necessarily in that moment, it doesn't mean it was like the worst decision ever made and the worst bullpen piece to go in there. You got to find and learn your bullpen. You got to understand who's going to play in what spots until you give them opportunities to go out there and battle with certain guys on base or at certain points of their lineup or whatever the score is. Like, you got to kind of learn that. That's all. That's all. Phillies undefeated since calling up JoJo Romero. Well, I do like the fact that you have another lefty in the pen, but you don't want to see Archie Bradley go out. I think I saw something along the lines of it was his first injury or his first stint on the IL in like 6 seasons. Kind of reminds me exactly of what we witnessed in uh, David Robertson last year. I want to see if I can find it exactly. Um, I think it was like 6 years. Of course, it would be as soon as wasn't safe. I think we're all fully aware that he was not safe. Yeah, so Archie Bradley's first stint on the injured slash disabled list in nearly 6 seasons. So it just kind of reminds me of what we witnessed with David Robertson. You get a guy, and it seems like it's a reliable guy. David Robertson was good. He was in the clear. He comes to Philadelphia, and then he has these major problems. can't even play, can't get on the bump. Like, it's just frustrating that that's kind of what goes down. You're telling me David Hale was in our pen over Electric JoJo all season? That's a joke. Look, David Hale stinks. That's fair. Vince Velasquez stinks. We knew JoJo Romero was going to get called up, right? I mean, it was pretty inevitable that whenever something happened or whenever they made their next decision, JoJo Romero was going to come in. Like, I don't think you didn't lose any extra games because David Hale was here. You wouldn't have won any extra game because of JoJo Romero being here yet. So I understand what you're saying, but let's also not act like JoJo Romero's the next shutdown guy ever. I mean, he's going to have nice moments, probably going to have some hiccups. I like JoJo Romero. I think he should be here. He's a lefty too. That matters. But you didn't lose any more games because David Hale was he stinks and gets rocked when the game's a blowout already, kind of. The JoJo Romero with that energy drink smash on his arm is so hilarious. He does bring that energy, man. He does bring that energy. If the Braves were smart, maybe they would have brought in a defensive replacement. Inciarte, more experience in center field, replacing Pache. Yep, that's fair. Better arm. That throw by Ozuna was absolute disaster. I mean, that was just a trash throw. That's my point. It's yes. Like, think about where, like, yes, it was a bad call. Think about where that ball landed for when it was Didi Gregorius who popped out, right? Think about where he was. Wait, was it? No, Gene Segura moved him over. Who popped him up? Didi would have. Am I going crazy? Gene Segura moved him over. Why am I? Who popped him up? I'm having a brain fart. I'm having a not enough coffee in my system brain fart. I got to go back to the game log here. Oh, it was Didi. How am I going crazy here? Okay, it was Didi. All right, I thought I was losing my mind for a second. But anyway, with Didi Gregorius, yeah, like think about where that ball landed. Think about where that ball went. Think about that ball was so, I mean, I couldn't believe they sent him. The fact that they even sent him to begin with, and the fact that you couldn't throw him out and have a better throw than that, shame on you. That's a flaw on your own team. That can't happen. That's a terrible throw. I can't believe he went. When he started taking off, I remember when the ball was in the air, I went, wow. All right, well, that's not going to get him. What? What? He just took off. Absolutely insane. Absolutely wild. Then you have the whole baseball world, all these players, Justin Turner, everyone's on social media. How can this possibly happen? What's going on here? This is insane. Why even replay it? Shut up. I mean, I just can't stress that enough. Just shut up. I mean, to act as if like we all saw what happened, right? And I think it was clear that whatever stayed, once you're 4 minutes into a replay, 5 minutes into a replay booth, and you're not making a decision and the umpire's not coming out, isn't it written in the stars what's going to happen? Whatever they said on the field was going to stay. There wasn't enough, even if it was 99.9% sure that it wasn't safe, you can't overturn it. So after that long of a replay booth, you kind of understand what it's going to be. Chris with a $2 donation saying, Bryce, 2 home runs in 2 days. Am I seeing a hot streak? Yeah, you're starting to see him wake up a little bit. You're starting to see him see the baseball better. You're starting to see opposite field, too. I mean, that was just such a beautiful swing just through the zone. It was perfect. And I love watching because they do that super slow-mo, and I even took a GIF of it, and I put it up on my Twitter, which you can follow me at Brodes81, of course. But his eyes when he hits an opposite field bomb or even just a home run in general, when he makes that contact and that pop and it flies off of his bat and he feels it hit the sweet spot, you could see his eyes go wide open as he follows the ball after making that contact. He just knows, and you could see it in his facial expression. It's amazing. Matt Moore sucked. That's what matters. Yeah, Matt Moore had a bad performance again. It's only 2 starts. They're not just going to give up on him within 2 starts. I said I'll start assessing these pitchers more after 5 starts. You are looking at the back end of your rotation, so to expect dominance is a little bit unfair, but I do need more. Like, he gave you 3 2/3 in his first outing. Yesterday, he gave you 5 innings. I think for your 4 and 5, they look for about 5 innings. The problem is you can't start the game off allowing that to happen. Double to Oncuna. Ozzy Albies gets on board. Dansby Swanson ends up getting you an RBI. Like, you're down 3-0, and I've seen people miss their locations to start off the game that wild, that all over the place. You have JT Realmuto setting up outside, and the ball's 5 feet inside. It's like, where are you going with that pitch? You were all over the map. His command and his control was unbelievably terrible. And I don't anticipate seeing him being in the rotation all season long. Spencer Howard's going to come up at some point and be help for you. The problem is lefty. Just the fact that he's a lefty, it kind of sucks. Matt Moore sucks. I don't care if it's 2 starts. Well, I mean, I'm just letting you know that I don't care what we think. I don't care what the fans think. I'm telling you what Dave Dombrowski thinks, the guy who makes the decision. Joe Girardi, like, that's what matters, right? We can say Matt Moore. I don't have a lot of faith in Matt Moore, but I know that they're not just going to sign a guy to $3 million. Him and Chase Anderson kind of split a couple $1,000,000 each. And then they're just going to give up on that signing within 2 starts because they struggled against one of the best lineups in the National League. If you go up against the Miami Marlins with Matt Moore, if you go up against some of these teams maybe at the bottom of the NL Central with Matt Moore, you might not get that same impact that you got or that same strong performance by the opposing team's lineup as you got yesterday. You got to keep in mind, it's not easy to blow through this Braves lineup. They are scary good. Ronald Acuna Jr. is an absolute stud. There's a big difference between Matt Moore pitching against the Pirates, pitching against, these teams that the Marlins, maybe the Mets as well, like maybe teams like that, like consistently, I'm saying more than just 2 starts, than going up against the Braves. You're throwing them into the wolves. I agree with this here. You didn't have good play out of Nola, Wheeler. Eflin, I'll kind of tip my cap to. He had a bad start, but he really did. Him and Ian Anderson. I don't like the start, and I guess that's kind of what I just said with the Matt Moore experience. But Zach Eflin has enough of a sample size of success here in Philadelphia to make me feel a little bit more confident about Matt Moore than I do with Matt Moore. So I will say it's concerning, but I mean, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, I'd imagine that they come around here and they have some good starts for you in that Mets series. I love the fact that you just hop right into it. Don't give me no off day bullshit. Let's go. Let's play some baseball. Let's hit a 4-game set here, fellas. I don't know what the pitching matchups are, though. I'm going to look it up. Phillies, Mets. I don't know what the pitching matchups are for this weekend. For this week, I should say. So let's see if we can pop this bad boy up. Why is it scores? Is it go to the scores and we can go to that's yesterday. Man, the Red Sox are putting together some wins, huh? It's crazy. All right, what is today? And what's going on here? Oh my God. I'm clicking all the wrong buttons. All right, Chase Anderson versus David Peterson. We can rock David Peterson again. That's definitely a matchup that maybe you can take advantage of. Aaron Nola versus Walker on Tuesday. That's an ESPN game as well. Why isn't this one loading? Well, Wheeler would be on the mound, but who's on the mound for the Mets? And now I do not have display. Okay, well, Wheeler would be on that day. And then Eflin versus deGrom. So why isn't this Wednesday the 14th loading? It's not telling me my full lineup here, people. I got to know who Wheeler's going up against. And that's the only day on this website that's not loading any sort of game casts. Whatever. Eflin versus deGrom. You do have some winnable matchups, though. Oh, Wednesday's to be determined. Okay, maybe that's why that's happening then. But none of the games are loading, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I mean, I think you got some good matchups. I think, Peterson, I'm not afraid of Peterson. He seems to struggle against the Phillies. They're a very limited sample size, but maybe there's a little PTSD every time he looks at the Phillies pinstripes. I don't know. I do like the way that this kind of sets up. deGrom versus Eflin is the last game of the series. That Mets team, though, man, I'll tell you what. There's something that still stinks against this Mets team. There's still something that smells bad about that Mets team. The fact that you have Jacob deGrom give you 14 Ks, 1 earned run. Dude's electric, just dicing and dancing around that strike zone, giving you 101, 100, 99.7. Your off-speed pitches are sitting in that mid-90s, low. I mean, it's just incredible. You can't get this man run support. How do you seriously look himself? How do you look him in the eyes? How do you look him in the eyes? How does he look himself in the mirror and say, I want to be a Met? I mean, it's just ridiculous. This team can never provide any sort of spark. And I love Francisco Lindor. I think he's an amazing personality, and he just brings the swag on the baseball field. But does he scream like he screams franchise guy? But I mean, whew, whew. As I have some Kendrick just bumping in my ears. I'm getting a little music today. I did that once before, but going a little music. I got backseat freestyle going, and I have a missed call. Who's calling me at 9 something in the morning when they know I'm at coffee with Brodes? Don't the people know I can't answer the phone? I got coffee with Brodes? Chris Sheehan. Oh, is my mouse all right? 0-1 for Jacob deGrom with a .63 ERA. How is that possible? When you're the Mets. When you are the Mets. And let's be realistic. On paper, that Mets lineup should be able to do some pretty good damage, right? I mean, they should be able absolutely to kind of give you more. How do they do this every time? It's like they put too much pressure on themselves, I think, when deGrom is on the bump. We have to produce. We have to score. We have to hit home runs instead of just casually going up to the dish, feeling comfortable, just getting, in rhythm a little bit. Like, just go play, go swing the bat. Stop overthinking, stop worrying too much. Just go play. Instead, it's a little bit more, they're intense. They're squeezing the bat too tight. Yes, Zach, we are going with the Hazelnut Black. We are calling you concerning your car's warranty. That could be the phone call, although I doubt it because it came up with the town here locally. Unbelievable, though. What a play, what a game last night, though, by that team. Anytime deGrom is on the bump, all they need is 2 runs. Yeah, I would agree with you, Evan. I mean, I would say literally 2 runs. 2 runs. No, I did not see the athletic post on Birds and Doug Peterson. No. What was that? I don't know what that's all about. Neris was? Neris was what? I can't wait till 7 o'clock. It's not, we got to go to weather.com, right? Because right now it kind of looks, that's my biggest fear when I wake up in the morning. Weather.com, what's it going to look like? We'll just go with what do you mean New York's not found? New York's not found. Oh, okay. Jerk offs. Cloudy, 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 cloudy. 3 o'clock showers. Rain, 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 rain. It's going to rain all night. It's going to rain all night. I'm so pissed. It says in New York, 75, pretty much from 7 o'clock on, you got 80% rain until 11 o'clock. Really, until 2 a.m. Until 2 a.m. It's pretty much 80 to 70%. Oh. Oh. Oh, we're totally going to get canceled tonight, aren't we? We're totally not going to have baseball tonight. Now, luckily, the Sixers play. Luckily, you have the 76ers at 7:30 against the Mavericks. But that's still not going to be enough for me, right? Like after that explosive, exciting win where you're just screaming and going nuts and you're like, what the hell just happened? One of those wonky moments. You're telling me that the game, the game's going to get canceled. I think so. Yeah, I think I would not anticipate seeing a Phillies baseball game today. I was hearing this debate about retractable roofs and all, and like, should there be a situation where baseball gets canceled? Like, isn't it better than that? Aren't we better than that? Aren't we way far ahead in technology that we shouldn't be in this spot where we even have games canceled anymore? Like, this isn't Little League. We're not 6 years old. This is a professional MLB. This is Major League Baseball. Why are there not roofs that can go over top where, hey, if it rains, we're not going to literally cancel the games? Like that's such bush league. I would hate if we went double headers. I really would. I don't want to see that 7 inning garbage. Like that's not baseball to me. 7 innings of baseball is a joke. It's an embarrassment and it's disrespectful to the sport. Really, I can't stand the fact that they went to 7 inning stuff. I could live with anything they did last year with the pandemic, and they're trying to kind of just find a way to get through a season, and it's 60 games, yada, 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 whatever. If you want to do that in a shortened season because of a COVID-19 protocol stuff, fine. But now we have 162, and we're back to normal with baseball. You got Texas filled out the wazoo with 50,000 people in the stands. And you're telling me that we can't go back to 9 inning baseball? I mean, it feels like a cheap game. You're literally like, think about how many games are won from inning 8 and 9, late into a game. The situation rises, right? It matters more. Pressured moments. The pitchers have more pressure on their shoulders. And you're telling me that, who cares about that? Let's not worry about that. I mean, it's terrible. I hate the runner on second as well. I do. I don't like the runner on second, but what are you going to do? I mean, I saw some things that like maybe it's a good idea after 11, 12 innings. Like give them two chances with extra innings without anyone on base and then from there. But yeah, I don't like the runner on second rule either. I don't like either of them, quite honestly. No, Nate, we forgot about that. What happened? I'm a I'm kidding. I'm just being sarcastic. I know. I figured you just got here. I wasn't trying to be an ass or anything, but it might have came off that way. Of course, we talked about it. And that's kind of been the discussion, just Phillies in general, for the first 25 minutes or so of the show. My thoughts on it and all. Like, yeah, he missed. But my thing is, to act as if that's any different from an umpire missing a pitch on the outside part of the plate and then Freddie Freeman or Acuna Jr. hitting a home run that next pitch because instead of it being two strikes on you, it's 3-1. Like, how many times have we seen a 2-1 pitch go down where it should be 2-2, which changes the entirety of the count and what the pitcher's going to throw, and then it ends up being 3-1 instead of 2-2, and then there's a 3-run shot? That's just as egregious of a missed opportunity from the umpire perspective than a play at the plate. It's just as egregious. So my point is, yes, it was bad and it was missed. There's plenty of plays that the Braves are going to benefit in 162 where it's a bad call by the umpire and it changes the outcome of the game. It's just baseball. It's how it works. The problem is that was the end of it, and that was the big play. And you go to the replay booth. The the intensity of that last play, of it being the last play, Sunday Night Baseball, everyone's eyes on it, is what makes it pop more than other plays. But I mean, come on. No, it's not time for jetpacks, I don't think. Jetpacks stink. Jetpacks stink. I just think he's a bad player. Unfortunately, I don't know. Like I don't even know if you have the right I don't even know if you have the right option in your entire franchise right now. Unfortunately, you have an issue. You have a major issue at center field. It's way uglier than, like, we knew it was going to be ugly and we stressed that it was going to be ugly. We're 9 games in and this shit is uglier than we probably we knew it was going to be ugly, and it's even worse. It's even uglier than we thought the ugly would be, in my opinion. I thought Adam Hasty would at least be able to hold his own, but he can't even defend. He's got no arm. I saw with 2 outs, the Braves go from second to third, which you never want to have that third out at third base, right? That is just bad baseball IQ. That's a dumb baseball decision. Yet they're pretty much saying, we don't believe in Adam Haseley's arm. We know Adam Haseley is a horrendous player. We don't think that he's going to get – it's worth taking a shot at that third out at third base because he does not have the arm to do it. What do you have at Adam Haseley? I mean, it's probably what it is a bad draft pick at the end of the day, and it's pretty disappointing. Pretty disappointing. Scotty doesn't stink defensively, at least. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he does. I mean, who's to say that he's anything crazy, you know? I mean, he might just be He might just be You know, does he have a cannon of an arm and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to rely that guys aren't going to run on him either? You know what I mean? That's what I'm kind of saying. It's not his natural position. And look, I mean, he's made nice plays in center field. I'm probably just being a little bit negative right now because I don't think that Scott Kingery is any good. But, like, if he's getting overpassed, I don't care. If he's, like, Adam Hasty might give you better production offensively than Kingery. So am I going to put Kingery out in center field because he might give you better defense, but he might be worse? It's like, imagine getting Roman Quinn production offensively, but getting Scott Kingery defensively. Well, at that point, why don't you just keep Roman Quinn in there? I mean, you know what I mean? It's that bad. It's that bad. Someone said the Heat are back. 3 games over 500. How back are they? The Heat love is insane. Yeah, Ozuna threw a knuckle curve at home plate trying to get Alec Bohm out. Why couldn't Brogdon be a starter? Well, because he's a bullpen pitcher. I mean, he's in the bullpen. He's a bullpen guy. I mean, there's a big difference. I mean, you can see his stuff. Connor Brogdon's role is phenomenal. I mean, just because someone has success in the bullpen, we're automatically going to be like, hey, let's start this kid. I mean, the guy can flat out. I mean, he's got an awesome role, man. Christian, it's actually unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable what the Buffalo Sabres did with Taylor Hall. An absolute disgrace. Now, by the way, there was some nasty NHL trade deadline stuff that went down yesterday. Lots of trades, lots of moves. If I am the Flyers, I'm trying to make a move. I'm trying to trade Lawton. The market is insane right now. You're getting first rounders for this. Savard's getting moved. There's so much action happening right now, which is kind of crazy considering we talk about how it's a flat cap era and the COVID-19 year and all. And would we see a lot of moves happen with this trade deadline? Yes. The answer is yes. I'm trading Scott Lawton. Unfortunately, what I would have tried to do was trade Brian Elliott to the Toronto Maple Leafs, but they went out and made a move already for the netminder position in Riddick. I'm moving as many guys as I possibly can because that market right now is flying, it's buzzing, and you're getting picks. Unfortunately, I think maybe that would have happened already, but there's teams that are watching other squads. Like Jeff Carter just went to the Penguins. There's a lot of moves being made around the NHL that some teams haven't, and maybe they feel forced to have to. Maybe a Colorado, hey, we got to go out and get a lot. Like maybe they need more guys because they're seeing other teams make that push. Jeff Carter to Pittsburgh. That's interesting. Yeah, I know. We got to move Raffle and Lawton. Yeah, people are questioning if Lawton can get you a first the way this market is. It's a little hefty, probably more of a second, but still, if you can get a second for Scott Lawton, and then possibly he's signed. Like the Maple Leafs getting Foligno, that's amazing. And guess what? He's probably going to sign back with Columbus afterwards. Maybe you get the same thing go down with Scott Lawton. Braves fans should be ashamed of themselves. They are coming after Alec Bohm. All I saw was people ripping apart the refs more so than anything else. Or the umpires, I should say. They should feel embarrassed for what they did. For Dansby Swanson to come out and have to say what he said, you should feel embarrassed for that. If you didn't see Dansby Swanson's quote, he pretty much said, there's a few things that bother me. I love the fans. They are passionate and they care. That was the most embarrassing thing of the whole night. Not the call. Fans were disrespectful representation of our city. That's what they should be embarrassed about. And if you're going to say, well, who are you, Brodes? You know, who are you? Philadelphia sports fans are the worst. Well, I'm not, so I can say it. Yeah, there's jerk-off fans in Philadelphia. There's jerk-off fans in Atlanta, too. And they should be ashamed of themselves on both sides. I'm not the guy, so I can say it. Hold them accountable. David, you're just reaching at this point. It's like, oh, we want to start. Let's just, if he can, like, oh, let's make him add a third pick. Well, that's a pretty big deal. It's not just like you can do it. Like, what you have someone who's very, very successful in this role. Why try and change it just to change it? Christian, open ice hits today. Now we're going to record one tomorrow morning and drop it because we're going to wait for the deadline to finish so we can kind of attack all the trades. There would be no reason to drop one today and then something also splashy to happen today. And we're just going to wait for the deadline and then record one tomorrow morning. Am I excited for Sixers Mavs tonight? Yeah, of course, man. Every time the 76ers play, I'm excited. Except for when it's against, I guess, a team that absolutely stinks. And so I guess I take that back. There are some games where it's like, oh, they're like, for example, that OKC game, second half of a back-to-back. You're pretty much playing the process Sixers. I guess I wasn't that excited for that game, but when you're going up against Luka and Ben, here's what I know what's going to happen, though. Ben is going to have another miserable night offensively, but he's going to shut down Luka. So then all the Ben extreme supporters are going to take it to the level of this is why you don't need him to shoot the basketball. And that's not going to be the case. I mean, you are going to need him to be able to be more aggressive, but you're going to get a great defensive performance out of Ben where the Ben apologists are going to go to like this level of, well, this is why you don't try this. Well, stop it. You can play great defense and still be unbelievable offensively too. I see it all the time. I see it out of Embiid. Doesn't stop Joel Embiid. What's my opinion on Zion after the game against Philly? Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing game. Zion Williams was very explosive. I thought the Sixers were uninterested in defending Zion, which is very unfortunate. I expected them to have a better effort. Not one player had a good game that night. Not one player. It was just a disastrous game for sure. You taking the Sixers over the Heat? Obviously. Why would I not take the Sixers over the Heat? It's not even close. One team is 36-17, and the other team is barely over 500. You don't think that that matters? You don't think that that's telling? You don't think that that tells the nature of the teams? One team is at the first place in the Eastern Conference Finals. The other is, yes, they're in fifth place, but they're just a game or two from eighth. The separation from 3-8 or 4-8, excuse me, is barely anything. Just one or two games. So, yes, it's not even close. Yeah, I know he's a heat guy, but it's just crazy. It's like for some, like here's a team that's 500 in the like it's just history of the NBA. Uh, when you're not in the top 3 in the NBA and in the standings in your conference, you have a significantly less chance to do much in the playoffs. Just basing this off of the track record of the NBA. Like there's a reason why you're barely over 500. The team just doesn't have the flow. And that's fine to admit. I know there's always Heat fans in here. Everyone bringing up the Heat. I'm confident the Heat gentlemen sweep the Sixers. That's fine. You can feel confident about that. I mean, it doesn't hurt my feelings. You're obligated to feel that way as a Heats fan, I guess. I mean, if you're an irrational human being. But yeah, I mean, you can feel that way. I'm not going to lose sleep over you feeling like the Heat are going to have a good chance of actually doing something. The problem is you're not going to see the Sixers right away. And I don't even know if you get to the chance of seeing the Sixers because you're going to be out before that. Um, yeah, I agree with you. The national media thing. I also though like I do get that the national side of things when it comes to Philly sucks, Phillies this, Phillies that. Me personally, I don't care enough. Like I just don't care about how people view us nationally. It's obviously a story today because of what was said and what happened. But I guess like I just don't care how people view it because I'm not that way. So I guess it's almost like I don't feel guilty because that's not me. And I get I'm associated by default with these people that make those decisions. But, if you just have a brain, you understand. Like, if you're a sports fan with a brain, and there's not, I guess, that's not fair to say there's not many of them. Maybe it's 50-50. But, like, if you're a sports fan with a brain, you know that throughout sports, every fan base has those morons. Every fan bases have those idiots. It's all around sports. I'm associated by default, fine, but I don't feel guilty So that's not me. So because I don't have that. It's not how, in my DNA. That's not how I approach sports fandom. Being one of those jerk offs that throw things on the field and take it to that extreme and all, and throw batteries at people and all. Like I just like it doesn't really bother me because I know I'm not that way. You don't have a brain, you dummy. Oh man, whew, coming at me. How how can I come up with that? You look awful, bro. Did you wash your face yet? You are just coming with the heat, my friend. You are just hurting my feelings. Get a haircut. Whew, whew. Hard hitter. Hard hitter. Um, yeah, it's also true. They know that we're react. They know that we're passionate about it. Yeah, if you're anti-flow, then you're just you don't understand beauty. You don't understand beauty hair. You know what I'm saying? Um, where are we here? Yeah, I know. Crazy. Just insane amount of chirps where I don't know how to operate, huh? I'm not gonna be able to handle all this. What else do we have? I'm trying to. I haven't really looked at the lineup for the week on what we kind of have here for the. Um, let's move my coffee so I can put it down. Not look like an idiot. Thanks, Pat. I appreciate all this, but this is a good friend right here. This is what I'm talking about. You can come with the chirps, but for all the chirps, this is what you get. You look great. I think you meant to say hair's on point here. But yeah, thanks, Pat. That's what friends are for, man. All right, so this is what we got here. Tonight, we got Sixers at 7:30 against the Mavs. That game got moved. I think it was originally 8:30. They moved it to 7:30. Phillies Mets at 7:10, but I don't think we're going to get that game. I think it's going to get canceled, and I'm going to cry. Was that my AirPods giving me that whole, hey, we're dying? Oh, I did. It's at 10%. That's so disappointing. Um, So we got two games. I don't think we're going to get the Phillies game in. It sucks. Tomorrow we got Phillies and Flyers Caps. That Flyers game was such a disaster against against the Buffalo Sabres. I don't know how much left in the tank I have with the Fly guys, right? I mean, if you just I really don't know how much I got left in the tank. I try and stay true to myself, saying like I'm going to grind out the whole season. I don't care, but there's a point where it's like, "Oh, kill me. Just kill me, Flyers. You are. I mean, it's not just you are killing me." It's crazy, man. Yeah, 7-inning doubleheaders are still a thing, I believe. I think I saw um it's I'm pretty positive they are. I think I saw the Nationals and the Mets. No, the Nationals and the Braves do it. The problem is they haven't really like told you anything. The MLB hasn't like released anything about what they're gonna do. Um yeah, 7-inning doubleheaders. I thought so. Because I remember seeing the Braves and the Nationals play the other day, and I'm like, they went through two games before the Phillies game even started, and then it all kind of came back. Yeah, that real stupid. It's like, come on. I just it's crazy. If Nets fans and some of the other things AD Kyrie said had me worried their focus might not be all the way there come postseason. I'm confused. What are you saying? Excuse me. I'm a Nets fan. And some of the things that Katie and Kyrie said had me worried, and their focus might not be all the way there come. Now, can you explain a little bit? I want to know what exactly was said that concerns you the most. When you're hearing things, what is it that tells you hey, there's a little bit of concern, there's a little bit of discomfort. What is it? Oh yeah, CM, I'm the same way, man. I'm the same exact way. I'll say I'm not going to watch and I'll watch everything. The problem is like in terms of reacting. If they lose their next 3 games, like who do they play? They play the Capitals, they play the Penguins, and they play the Capitals. You know, if they're going to fall those 3 games, I think that's their next 3. If they're going to fall those 3 games, you know what I mean? Like, all right, I'll watch and I'm a junkie. I don't know if it gets to the point of like if because like at some point, man, it's just irrelevant. Yeah, I don't know what quote. Titles aren't everything to me. He said that. He said, I mean, and in context, it might not be as bad as just Kevin Durant championships. Let's see. If I just type that in Google, let's see if something pops up. 2 days ago, championships are not his motivation. Aren't his big motivation, and we should believe him. I mean, it doesn't like I get where it's like, oh man, the only thing you should think about is that. But like, I mean, there's other things in life where maybe instead of the championship being what motivates him, it's something in his personal life that kind of said he want to be a great player, not worried about championships. Well, they relate, right? Like if you're a great player, especially at his caliber, you're gonna. I wish I could hear the whole context because here's a clip, or not a clip, but like a just a portion of a quote, but that doesn't really normally do its service. He told Rachel Nichols in a Sports Center interview, it's about seeing how good he can be. I wasn't expecting to be a happy human being. I wasn't expecting to be a happy human. I'll say this again. I wasn't expecting to be a happy human being from a title. I was just expecting, like, the end of a movie. Once you work so hard and everybody tells you, yo, this is what you need to be working for, is this gold ball and these rings. And I'm just like, all right, cool. Let me lock in on that. And I locked in on wanting to achieve that. But I also realize it's a lot of stuff that factors in that's out of my control. That's it. That's all this article gave me. I mean, that, like, I don't know. I think that's just like over analyzing, right? But I would imagine that if in Philadelphia, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons came out and said titles aren't everything, the problem is they already won one. So if you never won a championship and said it, it's different than winning a championship and saying it. And he won a championship and was finals MVP when doing it. So it changes the conversation. I don't know what I just said. I tried to read the quote, and it was like very out of flow. Probably because when he said it, he was just like talking. So when they write the quote, it's not perfect grammar because it was just kind of the way that Kevin Durant was just like saying it. It didn't come out like perfectly. So when they write the quote, it's not like or maybe I'm just an idiot too. I don't know. I don't know what I just said. I know that wasn't proper English, and that probably is on my part more than anything else. I'm looking for excuses. Um, but yeah, I mean, Kevin Durant has already won a championship. To say that's not what fuels him, and what fuels him is being a great player, being the best player he can be. Well, the best player he can be is going to win him championships. I don't think they're lethal. They're actually unbelievable. That what I don't see. What'd you just say, Brodes? I love how that's the comment up on the board. Um, yeah, Harden's dying for a title. They all are. They all are. They all are. Kyrie wants a ring. I mean, I think that's putting too much stock into it. This fan base would go nuts, though. Absolute crazy. 7-game series, Nets or Sixers? Probably Nets. Probably Nets. I think they have the more NBA championship caliber stars. Yeah, they have more championship caliber stars. The Brooklyn Nets are more ready. You still have I like the 76ers. I think they can really make a nice run and have a good ride, but I think 99.9% of the time in the NBA, especially when you're that deep in the playoffs, the team with the more superstars win, the team with the higher echelon talent wins, the top tier talent wins, and I think with KD, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, that's way more star power than what you have in Philadelphia. But look, sometimes some teams just have that magic touch, that magic ride, that perfect flow where everything just goes right. You saw that with the Eagles. But it's not the NBA. The NBA is different because the NBA is more that one player impacts a team because there's only 5 guys out there on the court way differently. But I actually had a call. I was on 97.5 The Fanatic yesterday hosting, and I had a caller call in that says, I'll take my 1 through 14 or 13. I think he said 13. I'll take my 1 through 13 over the Nets 1 through 13. And I said, yeah, but the 8 through 13 don't play. And then 6 through 8 barely touch the court. So it's really you know what I mean? So, I don't care about 8 through 13. Sure. What I care about is 1, 2, and 3. Is your 1, 2, and 3 better than their 1, 2, and 3? And the answer is no. The answer is no, it's not. That's the problem. A 7-game series, Sixers or Heat. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Did Bohm touch home? No, Matthew. No, he did not. What happened, CM? What did I miss? What did you say? Oh, after seeing some of these deals that have been made the last few days have made me realize that Fletcher's useless. Not that I would want some of these players' contracts. Why? I disagree with that. I mean, we shouldn't be buyers. Why is he useless? What would make him useless for not doing anything? I mean, the act is, look, Chuck Fletcher's in a tough spot, right? I mean, you really got to analyze this heavily here. And first off, the trade deadline's not over, but to buy, I mean, they're not buyers to fix this season. So if anything, it's like, all right, he's not selling, but like, there's only so much you can do. You're not, Sean Couturier isn't getting moved. He's a Selke winner. No one wants Jake Voracek's contract. No one wants JVR's contract. If you're thinking of shaking up the core, that's not something that you can do at the trade deadline. There's two moves that I'm looking for. Are they going to move Lawton or not move Lawton? And if they don't move Lawton, then they re-sign him. And like Lawton's not a bad player to have for the future. He can provide so much versatility, whether it's a center position or a wing position. And you know how important center depth is. I'm not a huge like diehard Lawton guy. I'm okay if they move on from him, but you know they don't have that many pieces. That's intriguing. It's like two guys, Raffle, who's not going to get you that much in return, and Lawton can. Yes, we're stuck with the core. So, I mean, Chuck Fletcher can only do so much. I'm actually surprised that the Braves didn't continue the game in protest. They'd have a pretty legit claim there. um, yeah, I'll keep stressing this. There are so many times where it might not pop as egregiously as that call, but game-changing calls happen throughout a baseball game all the time with a 2-1 pitch that comes in, and it's a 2 instead of 2-2, it's 3-1 because of a horrendous call by the umpire, and then that batter takes a 3-1 hitters count yard for a 3-run bomb, and you just scored 3 runs when it could have been 2-2. And that could have been the difference in, or let's look at it as it's 1-1. And instead of 1-1, like it's 1-1, here comes a pitch. It should be 1-2. Think about the difference in what the pitcher can utilize at 1-2 instead of 2-1 when the blue calls it a ball and then Freddie Freeman hits a 3-run shot. That's just as game-changing as that last play. The Comforto call was worse. Both pretty bad, in my opinion. I think they're both in the category of pretty bad. I don't know if it's worse. They're both really bad. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're both pretty even, to be honest with you. That's another good point, Christian. With the expansion draft, too, that adds a whole nother equation to this wonkiness. One of the strangest trade deadlines and weirdest off seasons for the NHL teams, for sure. $5 donation coming in from Just Call Me Flair. We take those, Brodes. Ring the bell. We do take those. There's a big difference between getting swept by the Braves and being able to go into the Mets series with just a little bit of some, just a little bit of some positivity. You won a baseball game. It wasn't the best series in the world, but I'll take the positive this way. You were a team competing toe-to-toe with the Braves in the last 2 series. You were going head-to-head, and you guys were both throwing jabs back and forth, getting runs, scoring runs, taking the lead, losing the lead, battling back. Like, both teams, like, I think it just shows the maturity of the lineup where, and it comes big, too, with your bullpen. You feel comfortable now. If you do fight back, you're not just going to lose the lead instantly. You can shut down that win. In years past, specifically last season, if you did crawl back, well, guess what? You wasted all that energy because Brandon Workman was coming into the mound or coming into the game on the mound, and he was going to allow the runs to score, and you were going to lose. You feel confident, and you have some swag now to be able to come back and actually win. You're fighting, and you're earning these victories, and you're just going toe-to-toe with the Braves lineup. That's what I'm looking more bigger picture than just like, hey, did they win? Did they not win? You know? How do you feel about my dad saying Acuna shouldn't have stared down Wheeler? I think your dad's very old school, and he should realize that that's good for the game of baseball. I root for that. I want that. I cannot stand people that think it's terrible. Like your dad, with all due respect to your dad, he probably liked 90s basketball where people were dunking in someone's face, screaming in their face, yelling, and Allen Iverson stepping over Ty Lue. How can you like Ty Lue getting stepped over and insanely disrespected, yet you think staring at a home run is disrespectful and that shouldn't happen, right? Like, sports is all about showing passion and care for the game and loving the game and all. Like, you're going to say getting a big hit in football. Your dad probably liked old school linebackers that would rock someone over the middle. Your dad probably liked Scott Stevens, who would destroy people's heads like Eric Lindros, and love that side of it and stare down somebody after a monster hit at the blue line. How can you love that in all other sports and then not like looking at a home run? God forbid you look at a home run. It's crazy. Right? Like, it's crazy. Don't trade Patrick. I'd easily trade Patrick. I'd easily trade Patrick. I saw something by, who was it? I think it was Bill. Let me find these stats by Bill Meltzer. It was a couple days ago, but it was about Nolan Patrick, and it was fascinating. Unfortunately, he probably tweeted a bunch until then, or since then. Yeah, here's his in-game tweets. Let's see if I can find. It was really good. I mean, it was really good stats to kind of show you a little bit about Nolan Patrick. And where, please let me find it. Please let me find it. It was like a thread. It's like, this is my Nolan Patrick thread. And it was a couple tweets long. Please, let's see if I'm determined. I'm determined to find this. I drive Nolan Patrick to the airport. Yeah, I agree. Oh, what with Patrick flashes that impact players. Maybe we're getting close. Maybe. Am I going to give up? Aha! I got it. Nice. I found it. A thread about Nolan Patrick incoming. What concerns me from an offensive standpoint is the long dry spells where he's simply not getting to the scoring areas more than an isolated play or two. It's not that he's never shown himself being capable of scoring into the NHL. As a rookie in 2017-18, he had stretches of 10 points in 12 games and a mini streak of 5 points in 3 games. Overall, he had 13 goals and 30 points as a 19-year-old rookie. Not a bad start. In year 2, though, you'd look for an offensive progression, but season was basically a carbon copy. Same long droughts, same hot streaks. Had spells of 9 points in 10 games and 8 points in 8 games. This season, I have not really seen anything radically different from him than before missing last season. He makes the same subtle, nice plays. He'll provide defensive support, but he doesn't push himself out of his comfort zone on the attack on sustained basis. In terms of bottom line productivity, he had a strong training camp, then started the season off with 5 points in 7 games. Ever since, he has 2 points in 31 games. 2 power play points, one of which was first game on opening day, despite being on the regular power play. I think that's really fascinating. I really do. I mean, it just puts it in perspective of this is somewhat Nolan Patrick. No one's saying that Nolan Patrick's supposed to put up 40 goals, but you had 2 points in 31 games playing major power play time. There's a problem with Nolan Patrick. I mean, like, and let's say, like, well, he's a bottom 6 guy. Well, if he's a bottom 6 guy, you can remove and replenish bottom 6 guys. It's like bench players in the NBA. You can replace bench players. Bench players are movable. Bench players are you can easily move on from bench guys, get different guys. That's simple. Bottom 6 guys, you can find new bottom 6 guys. It's the top 6 that are important. Now, that's not saying all bottom, like, they're special. You can see depth in third line guys that can be second line guys. Nolan Patrick's bad, though. Nolan Patrick is not worth it. And if he's got a little bit of value because some see it as, well, he was a second overall pick. Maybe we can tap into him more. Fine. But I'm all right to move on from him for sure. Nolan Patrick's easy, man. Easy, no-brainer. 2 points in 31 games with monster power play time. Harper will hit a home run today. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone in the Mets-Phillies series is going to hit a home run today because I don't think they're going to play. I think there's going to be a rain delay, and it's going to be crushing. It's going to hurt my soul. It's going to be very disappointing. It's going to be very disappointing. I don't think they play today. It looks like there's going to be 80% rain from like 7 o'clock p.m. till 3 in the morning in the New York area. So I don't think we're going to get that. And it's going to hurt my soul. It's going to hurt my soul. Amazing. Amazing. He literally contributes 0. Yeah, it's been bad. This Flyers team is in a really tough spot. Bro, stop with the negativity. We need positive vibes only. Oh, I'm just being honest. Do you think toxic Philly fandom is a reason we're not giving more opportunities in the buyout market? No. No. You think that there's people in the buyout market that looks at this team and goes, "You know why I don't want to go to a championship caliber team? Because the media, not because of like the team." What? No, they want to win. Like they want to win. They see this team as a championship caliber team. They don't say, "You know why I don't want to go to the best team in basketball?" Well, no, that's strong. But the best team in the Eastern Conference, that's what I was looking for. It just came out of my mouth. I wish that what it was. Um, yeah, so I don't think it has anything to do with that at all. That's a good question, Mikey. You're right. I never thought about that with the rain possibly being in play. I'll keep everybody updated. What I'll do is I'll keep it scheduled. So normally what I do is I'll schedule it for 6 o'clock. If you see it scheduled for 6 o'clock, I'll do leading off with Brodes. If we know that like, yeah, they're really not going to play today as it gets closer to that first pitch, and like there's a really good chance it's not going to be played, maybe I won't do leading off with Brodes. So just on YouTube, you'll see it either scheduled or not scheduled. Oh, that's a good question. Do we want to get the 2 seed so we play the Bucks in the second round? No, you would never want to do something like that. Never want to do something like that. $10 donation coming up for Alec Pags here. Upgraded to the AirPods. I've always had the AirPods. I'm just listening to music. I normally just kind of, do nothing and just have nothing in my ears, but I'm just listening to some tunes while having my coffee and talking. I figured the AirPods are the way to go. I sleep with my AirPods and all. That's kind of it's crazy, but I need noise. And my fiance goes to bed at like 9:30, 10, and she can't have TV on or light on or whatever. So it's just brutal. So I got to listen to like a podcast or just some light tunes or whatever when I fall asleep. So I'm like sleeping with my AirPods in. I'm thinking, why don't I throw some on and kind of just listen to some music while doing some coffee with Brodes. So that's what we're doing with the AirPods. But I had them for a little bit of time. Thank you so much, Pags, for the $10 though, man. Always appreciate your support. It is like no other. I appreciate that for sure. What the fuck? You're crazy. I know. I know. I am crazy. Yeah, I sleep with AirPods in. I used to sleep with like actual earphones in. Do you think Connor Brogdon should get more relief innings? I think you'll start seeing him doing that for sure. We're going to do a little rapid fire here as we're kind of getting close. Hate Fletcher with the passion. Chris, why do you hate Fletcher with the passion? What would make you hate Fletcher with the passion, if I may ask? Like, what has he done where it's like, I hate him? And we will end after we get this response because I'm so fascinated with that. Like, in what universe is it I hate him with a passion? I have like I can look at what he did in Minnesota and have some concerns, like big contracts to the guys like Parise and to some guys on the back end. But I don't know how it's like I despise him with an absolute pat. What has he done where it's to that level? Last year, he got you one game away from the Eastern Conference final. This year was an absolute internal disaster. But when you have your number one defenseman retire on you out of nowhere when he was still under contract, it's tough. It's tough. I'm not saying it's easy. Bro, you look like Travis connecting. That's I'll be all right with that. So I'm waiting for Chris's response here. I'm really fascinated to hear what has to be said about him. So hopefully there is a response from Chris because that is our last remarks. I want to know how it could be full on hate. Oof. Yeah, I think we're going to have Luka on. I think Ben's going to have a strong defensive game. He normally does against big matchups and likes to make that statement. So, Ben's always looking to provide that defensively. All right, unfortunately, it looks like Chris might not have a counter response. Noah, good day from Australia to you as well. It does not look like we're going to get a response from Chris. So, Imagine Chris never responds and the show goes on for maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe Chris knows the game. Maybe Chris knows what he's doing. All right. Well, I gave him the opportunity. There's no doubt about that. I'm just a guy. I'm a man of the people. I'll give you your chance. I'll give you your opportunity. Does not look like Chris wants that opportunity. So, all right. With that being said, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today on Coffee with Brodes. So, for leading off with Brodes, just to be clear, it's probably going to get canceled today. It looks like with the weather app. So, what we want to do is go to YouTube and you know how I schedule the live streams? If you see it scheduled for 6, I will be there. If you don't see it scheduled, that means it's probably not going to be a game tonight, and I'm not going to do leading off with Brodes if there's no game because, there might not be anything to kind of preview. So just be aware, be on the lookout. That'll be kind of your telling point. If you see it scheduled, I'll be there. If it's not scheduled, there will be no leading off with Brodes today. The weather might do us dirty, sadly. Thank you all so much, and I'll catch you guys later on.